She shook her head. She was sick of darkness. No, bright, like... She cast around in her memory for something. Poppies. Poppy red, the woman muttered, turning to browse through the fabrics. Very well. Elizabeth left the dressmaker's shop happier and more carefree than she'd felt in a very long while. She walked right past her waiting carriage on a whim. She would walk home. When one of her footmen noticed, he rushed after her, trying to unfold an umbrella. "There's no need for that," she said. He glanced at the sky, looking at the dark clouds dubiously. "Return to Middleton House," she commanded. "I will be there shortly." Maybe she would, and maybe she wouldn't. The day seemed ripe with possibilities, and it had been a long time since she'd been caught in the rain. Too long. Somewhere on Piccadilly, the pleasant drizzle turned into a downpour. The opening of the skies brought colder air, and she stood on the pavement shivering as rain drenched her to the bone. And yes, thinking it might have been a mistake after all to send the carriage away. She ducked into the first door she saw and collided with a very solid shape. Oomph! The solid, and warm, had she mentioned warm? Shape took a step back and features that had been blurred came into view. Hazel eyes, a lovely meeting of green and gold, under thick eyebrows, a long, straight nose, and firm, full lips. The lips curved into a smile. "Pardon me, miss." The voice was as deep and rich as chocolate. It reverberated around her insides like someone had just played a low note on a pipe organ. She didn't bother to correct him. "No, it was my fault." She wasn't entirely comfortable with the amount of space he'd left between them. She took a step back. When she did, she noticed his striped waistcoat had 2 damp spots on it, exactly where her breasts had pushed against his chest. "Oh!" He followed her mortified gaze, and when he looked up, his grin took on a wickedly amused flavour. She knew. That look told her everything she needed to know. This man was a rake. Emphasis on the capital R. She'd been in society long enough to be acquainted with them, and long enough to know they were best avoided. "If you'll excuse me." She turned, then stopped at the sound of his voice. "It's still raining." Indeed it was. She saw the torrents of it through tall sash windows, heard it pinging against the roof. "And you're shivering." She wrapped her arms around herself, as if she could stop shaking by sheer force of will. "I'm not." "Liar," he said softly, with a strange tenderness, as though he'd just offered an endearment. "If you stay, I can have a pot of tea readied, and you can sit by the fire." He was the devil, offering such temptations when chills were running up and down her spine. She should simply reach out, push open the door, and leave. And catch her death from the cold. She might be wary, but she was also practical. She turned back. "You work in this establishment?" She glanced past him, at bookshelves that went from floor to ceiling stacked full with volumes. The air was tinged with the earthy smells of vellum and parchment, and the shop bustled with activity. Both men and women browsed the stacks, or stood by the fire, or spoke to the workers at the desk. She'd been here before. Cameron's Lending Library and Booksellers. In the past few years, it had become quite popular. "I do." A fresh wave of shivers racked her. "Very well." She followed him up a winding staircase with a gleaming mahogany balustrade. Without the hum of the patrons around them, the air turned still and silent. She paused. "Where are you taking me?" "The offices."